Welcome back, friends. Another exciting day in Empires and Puzzles brings us back another portal, and this time around it is going to be for Untold Tales 2, and a new costume released for our good friend Hreidmarr. Hreidmarr, I think that's what we're gonna call it. I'm going to go ahead and do a review for this guy because I think he is interesting. I also want to say that I am thankful for a little bit of change up in this. I don't know what was going on with that hat, but it was a choice, right? It was a choice. I'm not sure it worked out. I think he probably is rearranging his drip here a bit, and it worked out for the best in my personal opinion. So let's see if his upgraded stats come with any fun twists as well. So first things first, we were the wizard class originally. This did help him do possibly some more damage based off of buffs. Now we get the sorcerer class, which honestly is probably more in line with the idea of him being a tank. And I think it's really the goal for this type of character. He definitely, to me, always seemed like he was meant to be a bit of a tank type character, defensively, similar to like a Fergus or something like that, but never really took off in quite that route. So let's see what else this guy can do. Reminder of the family bonus, we are getting the Molten Core. So if you want more information about the Molten Core, you got to go down to the passives where it says Molten Core. And here it says that the Molten Core activates each time this character casts their special skill. All enemies receive Corrosive Burn for 3 turns. With a fully charged Molten Core, the Corrosive Burn deals 546 damage and lowers the target's defense by negative 13% each turn. Deals extra damage against heroes with minions and mega minions. The burn damage is scaled by the amount of charge in the core, and the core is charged by taking damage. So there you have it. The 546 burn damage per turn is it's pretty good, right? Like I do like it. I also like the fact that it consistently lowers the target's defense. It is a pretty cool effect. All right. Then also in the passes to power, we get Empowered Burn Resist. So this character is immune to status ailments that deal burn damage and gains 600 boosted health and 10% mana each time they resist. That is huge, right? Like that 10% mana for each resisted burn attempt, it definitely speeds this guy along. At slow, that's quite a bit of value of mana gained, so just keep that in mind. Okay, then over here, we get boosted regen as the Aether power. Boosted regen is not really that exciting in my personal opinion, but it's fine. I like it better than regular regen, as this will at least boost your health if you're still at max health. Now, if you're using this guy in a tanking role, you're probably taking at least some damage, so that boosted health will likely just add a touch more survivability, but 300 health over 6 turns is like not really gonna matter that much. All right. We also get Dwarven Trader's Deal. Operating at slow speed, it says it attacks all enemies with the Firestorm Strike, dealing 2,500 damage. Deals 40% more damage if the target is nature, which is pretty crazy. If the target, this special skill never misses its targets, which is super nice. Now, it's also important to click on this little question mark because they inflate these numbers to make them look a little bit more impressive than they actually are. See, right here, it says the base damage is 1,250. Now, it is possible to do that 2,500 damage, but the damage is based off a sliding scale between this character's attack and its opponent's defense. Now, with an 1851 attack rating here, that's pretty good, but it's not as high as some of the other heroes. Like, I think we just recently saw a hero with almost, I think it was the Green Wildcat. I think it was released with almost 2,100 attack. So just understand that like there could be higher attack stats out there. You're going to be much closer to the base damage when fighting heroes of similar strength. So it's more like a 1,250 damage to all than it would be necessarily a 2,500 damage to all. So just don't get overly hyped on that. Okay. Then it also says it reduces the mana of all enemies by 35%. Oh, wow. Okay, so just a straight mana cut to begin with. After the special has been cast, increase the mana of the caster by 35%. Okay, so that's a huge swing towards his next cast. At the end of each turn, steal the latest dispellable buff from all enemies and distribute them randomly on allies for 5 turns. Did they add like a lot of this? What did his original costume do? The caster steals generated mana from the enemies over 5 turns, starting low and increasing each turn. The last turn, all mana is stolen. This effect can't be declared, but can be removed if the caster is defeated. At the end of each turn, steals the latest dispellable buff from all enemies and distributes them randomly on all allies. Okay. So I guess the buff thing remained the same. I don't remember this character stealing buffs, but honestly, I never had this character, so I probably just didn't pay enough attention to that aspect of it. But in reality, the big trade-off here is the fact that this character is now just cutting everyone's mana by 35% and then increasing his own by 35%. So this, in my personal opinion, is probably an upgrade because I'd rather chop their mana right away, I think, and then maybe gain the mana back right away. Look, I understand. I like the stealing mana and possibly the generated effect. I do think that's cool, but there's something to be said for simply doing things right away. Um, and the reason I say that is that in reality, like if this character dies, you're not getting as much of an effect out of them, right? And in this particular type of game, where you're going head to head and fighting each other like this, and the goal is to kill your targets, especially if you tank this guy, I think getting an immediate effect is better than trying to prolong it out with a dot style of effect. So I guess in that logic mindset, this is an upgrade. I also feel like if you can get this guy chaining enough, he will be similar to like a Fergus in that extent. Now, Fergus did do negative 70% mana to one enemy and then 35 to the rest, I believe. But Fergus didn't give himself a nice 35% mana increase as opposed to this guy doing that. So he's going to be able to fire again that much quicker. Like, if you thought Fergus was a problem in how he chained his mana reductions, this guy is that, plus increasing his speed to average instead of slow for his next couple casts. Like, if you're going up against this guy, I would say it's definitely in your best interest to bring something that reduces the amount of mana gained, like an Astral Demon or something to that extent. So, yeah, I mean, honestly, pretty good hero, good defensive tank for sure. Where do I rate him? I'm going to say that I think this guy can be like, especially if you make him a little bit more defensive and don't worry so much about his attack, but just turn him into a chaining mana reducer on defense. I'm going to say this guy could probably end up being around a 9. Like, he might fall just short of a 9, but the reality is he's casting mana delay through the sorcerer ability. He's going to be cutting mana. He's going to be dealing a reasonable amount of damage, and with him being in a tank role, his molten core will probably charge up, doing quite a bit of dot damage as well. Yeah, I mean, I think this guy deserves to be right around that 9 point as a defensive tank. On offense, I think he's going to fall a little flat. Like, he's good, he'll be fine, but like, I just don't think you'll get much excitement out of him there unless it's Rush. In Rush, obviously, like most slow heroes, he will shine in that format, but in the rest, he probably just won't gain mana as fast as you'd like. I definitely feel like if I was going up against this guy, I would try to eliminate him as fast as possible just to make sure I don't fall into a repeating mana drain trap. So, with that in mind, just make sure that you take care of that. He really isn't like, I don't know, he really isn't much other than that. But as we all have seen in the past, if you get caught in a mana trap, like your fight could be over without you really casting anything. That's what makes these characters so powerful in like wars, for example, where your goal is to prolong your defense through as many fights as possible. If you can catch these people in a mana trap quickly, that's how you get those like single digit scores that like, up to 9 points or whatever, and then you can prolong over several hits. So yeah, there we go. We'll just give this guy a 9. I do like him. I think he's cool. Defensively, offensively, he's probably just like a standard, new release. Nothing too exciting there. Okay, well, I do appreciate it, guys. We'll see you next time.